Hey everybody, Sean here with Elite Handyman Services of Pennsylvania. Saturdays are for the DIYers, and today's DIY tip is all about how to locate and utilize studs. So first things first, what's a stud? So on our wall here, we've got drywall. And behind this drywall are pieces of wood that are actually used to frame the wall. And those pieces of wood are called studs. They're generally 2x4s, sometimes 2x6s, and they sit inside the wall in this position. So they look like this inside the wall. And they're generally spaced 16 or 24 inches apart on center. That means if you go from the center of one stud, you've got 16 or 24 inches until you get to the center of the next stud. And again, this is the framing part of your wall, sometimes load bearing, sometimes not, but one of the most important structural components of your home. So that's what a stud is. And once your house is built, how do you utilize the studs? The studs are generally used to support things that you want to hang on your walls that are very heavy. Think TVs, think shelving, think heavy mirrors or heavy pictures. Drywall in general is not meant to support big loads of weight. So when you have something heavy that you need to hang, you want to make sure that you're mounting that on a stud rather than right into your drywall. I've got actually a piece of scrap drywall here, and I just want to show you why drywall isn't really meant to hold heavy loads. So I've got a piece of scrap drywall and I've got my box cutter, and I can actually cut this drywall just with a box cutter. You just give it a couple of scores, and then we bend it, and we score it again on the other side. And just like that, our drywall is cut. So going into drywall with a drywall anchor is great for lightweight items like small pictures, like light mirrors, like I mounted a baby monitor the other day and I just put drywall anchors right into the drywall because it was very light. But when you're mounting something of substance, you really want to find a stud and you want to mount into that stud. Generally using screws or lag bolts, things like that. So here's how we find a stud. I always recommend using two ways to find a stud. So here are the two ways that I use to find a stud. So the drywall is secured to the stud with a fastener, usually a nail or a screw. So I've got this awesome tool. It's called the Stud Buddy, and it's a really strong magnet. And this magnet finds the fasteners in the drywall, just like that. And this in general will show you the center of a stud. Now, we want to make sure before we start drilling or putting screws into our walls that we truly have a stud, because there's nothing more frustrating than starting a project, putting your fastener in the wrong spot, and then having to patch drywall. Been there, and it is the most frustrating. So our Stud Buddy is the first way that we use to locate. And then I like to use a stud finder to confirm. This is a zircon edge finder. And what this does is it shows you the edges of your stud. So all you do is there's a button on the side, you push it, and you work towards your stud, and it'll beep and show you an arrow. And that's how you know you found one edge of your stud. And if I were mounting something or hanging it, I would generally mark with a pencil or put a piece of painter's tape there to know that I'm at the edge of the stud. And then we just, from the other direction, we do the same thing. And then when it beeps again, we know that we have the other edge of our stud. So once you've found your stud and you've marked your stud, then you're ready to go ahead and mount whatever it is that you're mounting, whether it's a TV or a heavy mirror or a heavy picture or some floating shelves. Super easy to do, but if it's something that you don't want to hassle with, you don't have the time, or it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, I am more than happy to help you with your next mounting project. You know where to find my contact information. It's going to be down in the description below. And as always, if this content is helpful to you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks so much for watching, and happy DIYing.